When you click on the course analytics link, it'll take you to a new page, which will be looking like this. Right? And you will find these 4 reports in there. And we could only have 4 reports, not more or less. That's how the system is being designed. These reports focus on specific themes for simplicity. That's the way it's again designed to help you. Although you can run any of these reports anytime, we have some guidelines and considerations for the best for you. So note the Know Your Learner report, which is at the bottom. It becomes available to you before the actual classes start. That is when the course shells are created from the PeopleSoft. So you can look at your students in advance for the preparation of the course. Now, the other 3 reports, which is on the top, which is the would be frequently you can frequently use them during and after the teaching period. And also, there are 3 distinctive views for these reports. The insights that Know Your Learners report provides are mainly based from the data that is available at the time you run the report. So it's going to have up-to-date information coming from the PeopleSoft database when you run the report. The other thing is the learner performance report and the course the learner engagement report. Those you can run during and after the teaching period. That will have the information from the start of the course date to the date that you're running, so whole duration, and it'll have series of graphs from the time, based on the time series graphs for you to look at. And the report listed on the top, the course at a glance, weekly trends, that will show you 7-day stats. These are arranged this way to align with teaching periods and to help you with your work. So let's look at the course at a glance report, which tells the weekly stats, which is the first report. So the initial graphs provides you with an indication of how engaged students were over the last 7 days period. This chart on the left shows you the percentage of students out of the enrolled students who have logged in during the 7 days period. So in this particular scenario, there was 99% of students logged in over the 7-day period. This also shows a percentage increase or decrease of number of logins compared to the week before. So you can check how many students were coming to classes this week versus the last week. So you can easily start looking at what's happening and the trends, etc. Then the graph on the right side, it shows you how these students interacted with the course material. So interactions are mostly based on the number of clicks, where they click, and etc. So each day in this 7 days period, it gives you individual days and tells you how many interactions were there in each day. So you can correlate these behaviors to your planned activities in your course, such as study breaks, exam times, assessments, or time leading to census data, etc., and make judgments based on the patterns. So when you scroll further down to the next section within the same course at a glance report, another useful insight that it tells you the top 10 areas accessed in your course within the last 7 days. So when you hover over it, it can also provide you additional info. In the example there were 99 students who accessed the assessments 226 times in the last 7 days. Similarly, if you hover over the course content bar, the blue bar on the top in the same section of that chart, you can find how many students were accessing course content like 611 times. It says 611, but you can find how many were accessing that many times. The chart on the right shows the learner activity across 4 broad classifications, mainly the assessments, content, tool, and other unknown types. This information is very helpful and very powerful for you to understand how learners are progressing with your course week by week. Also helps you with the course or curriculum design decisions as to what works and what does need a little bit of tweaking. So again, in terms of these classifications, if you hover over this assessment button, it's going to show you what's in that classification. So in terms of assessment, you have Turnitin assignments, surveys, tests, self and peer assessment items, and some publishers, tools, etc. So you can just put a mouse over there, you can find exactly how it's been classified. So when you scroll to the next section in the SIM report, this listing shows you, which is the course item access summary. This shows you the summary activity across all course items in your course over the last 7 days. For example, you will know some activities where there were only one student or no students accessed. So depending on the context or teaching week, you can specifically narrow down to further analyze or plan intervention or the feedback accordingly. Or it could be an activity students access unusually so many times. Maybe you will decide to go through it again with the students, or break the task down to smaller chunks, etc. So you can find decisions based on that. There's another point in here which I've highlighted in yellow because there's a few questions in the last webinars that we had. So let's look at what's highlighted in yellow in this listing. So in our what I've highlighted is how you can find the stats on the Collaborate Ultra. How many people have been accessing Collaborate Ultra? Now, this particular stat is going to come on this course item access summary only only when the students click through your Learn at Griffith course. By any chance, if you have provided them email them directly the link to get to the Collaborate Ultra, then this system will not know whether they have accessed it or not. So that's thing just to be mindful. In this particular course example, there's about 181 times students access the Collaborate Ultra session by 141 unique students during that 7-day period. There's also other to give in conjunction with the above information, because this is very powerful area that you can really look at individual area. This one, which is this slide. This comes after that section in the report. So this can tell you how many the course items which were not accessed previously but not in the last 7-day period. Similarly, there's another section which is going to tell you course items have never been accessed in your course. So and there's also a very important indicator here on the rightmost corner, which is says current availability. It's going to tell you whether that particular course item has been made available in your course, so for the students to access, or whether it's been disabled. So that is a really that helps you to find out whether there's anything that you need to go through the course. You can get a holistic idea of what's really happening, and you can make adjustments to the course as well. So down in that course at a glance, it also talks you through information about the discussion forums and the threads. It will show you the number of how many people have been contributing and number of posts. Also, it has a graph where you can hover over, which will provide you more information about how many students been accessing and when, number of posts, etc. And also it has a little like a heat map there. However, just to note, I mean, we are still working on this with Blackboard, especially the number of forum reads, because right now we don't have the separate test area. Blackboard is still trying to work it out to get it properly right for the number of reads, but it gives you the number of contributions and the posts correctly. So further down in that same course at a glance report, this section, just to remind you that the digital learning ecology is not only Blackboard. We are not going to get all the data within Blackboard. So it's just going to remind you, you need to consider data from other systems when you make decisions, such as engagement in Echo 360 or the PebblePad or Teams area. That will complement your insight, complement these insights what we are discussing here.